Hi there, Smart Drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you today about the Buggy, the 1998 Honda CR-V that I own that I mentioned in recent posts was broke down on Labor Day weekend, and it's been in the shop for a couple of weeks because they were pretty busy. So got the Honda back today. The good news is that they didn't have to rebuild the top end of the motor. They only had to replace the rotor for the spark plugs. So the rotor for the spark plugs, for those of you who may not know, in an internal combustion engine, you have pistons that go up and down. At the top of the piston, there's a spark plug, and the fuel and air goes into that chamber, and the spark plug ignites the fuel. And so if that timing is off, then that won't work. Hey, Big Money Boss, how's it going? So that rotor was broken in the distributor cap, so they simply had to replace that. So the first look at the vehicle, there was lacking compression in a couple of the pistons, which didn't make sense. Hey Sam, how's it going? So what happened was they had a look at it, and then late last night, the shop called me and they said, listen, we misdiagnosed this, and they put a new rotor on it. And I don't know, we were up to a couple $100 at the rotor. So I went in this morning and they still had the valve cover off. And for those of you who drive Honda CR-Vs, this model between sort of 1997 and 2007, or 2003 rather. So 1997 to 2003, the Honda CR-Vs were known for valves going loose and burning the valves out in them. So it was important to keep the valves adjusted. So I asked the mechanic while they had the valve cover off to adjust the valves, and that was another $250. So by the time we get done with taxes and all of that stuff, we were up to $650. But $650 is a very long cry from a couple of $1,000s to rebuild the top end, or $5,000 or $6,000 to rebuild the entire motor and the clutch and whatnot. Deepika, sorry to hear about your unsuccessful attempt on your road test. Okay, so you need to practice your turns, and Deepika, what I suggest to you is to go out to the parking lot, rent some of those 36-inch tall, 1 meter tall pylons, and practice low speed maneuvers. Have a look at the video here on the channel for that, and that will help you with working the primary controls of the vehicle. For the purposes of turns, Deepika, you have to slow down before the turn to 10 to 15 kilometers an hour for right-hand turns, 8 to 12 miles an hour, or 15 to 25 kilometers an hour, or sort of 18 to 22 miles an hour if you're in the States for left-hand turns. So you slow down before, go into the turn, and then halfway through the turn you want to accelerate out of the turn. So that's how you do the turns. But I would suggest you go back to working the primary controls. So have a look at that video. Heartfelt Zero. Hey, I got my license first try last Tuesday. Thanks for all your helpful videos. That helped me a lot. You are most welcome for that, and I'm glad that the videos helped out. And if there's anything further we can do for you, we're certainly going to help you out there. So what am I going to talk about tomorrow? I got a video coming out that I'm going to get out tonight that's sort of ready on mirror signal shoulder check. I'll just give you a preview of that. Essentially, I had a question about mirror signal shoulder check. And many people misinterpret that the mirror that you're checking first is the wing mirror. It's not the wing mirror. You're checking the center mirror. You're checking the traffic behind you to make sure that if you are slowing down to turn, for example, that you're not going to get rear-ended. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Just elaborate on that very little bit. It's not a very long video. It's only about 3 minutes. So Francois, I'm about to take my road test, and I just wanted to give you some tips to succeed. Francois, have a look at the 8 tips for driving video here on the channel. That is, we'll talk about the things that you need to do. If you're not too far out from your road test, 7 to 10 days, I would suggest you take a mock road test with a driving school. Hire a driving school and get them to take you for a mock road test. That way they'll be able to identify the weaknesses in your abilities, techniques, and skills for the purposes of a road test. As well, know that the 4 basic fundamentals of any road test are speed management, space management, observation, and communication. Those are the 4 basic components of a road test anywhere, any place in the world, regardless of class of license. So, speed management, posted speed limit or the flow of traffic, whichever is less. If you're driving a passenger vehicle, if you're driving a commercial vehicle, or the capability of the vehicle, or whichever is less. So if you're going uphill and the vehicle only does 40K, that's all you're going to do. Space management, don't get near any other road users. Don't get near any fixed objects. Don't get near pedestrians. Make sure if you're turning, you need one lane of traffic between you and pedestrians. So know that for the purposes of a road test. All right. Adam, you are most welcome in terms of the streams. I'm trying to do more live streams, and actually, Adam, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some more on Facebook as well. So I'm going to do more during the beginning of the week to help people out with their road tests. Okay, so coming back to Francois' question, and the other two thing, observation, you have to scan all the time. You have to shoulder check for the purposes of turns and lane changes and those types of things, so make sure you do that as well. And then finally, communication, lights and signals, brake lights, your horn, eye contact, hand gestures, appropriate hand gestures for communicating with other road users, and then finally the position of your vehicle on the roadway. Okay, so that's all the basic things, and the 8 tips for passing your road test will give you more information, so have a look at that. Okay. George, my take drive test tomorrow. I drive more than 50 or 60 in the street. That means an automatic fail. No, if you don't, you have to be as close to the posted speed limit as you can. If you go a couple of kilometers an hour over, a couple of miles an hour over, as long as you get it back down within the speed limit very quickly, you're going to be fine. It doesn't have to be spot on, but it has to be pretty close most of the time, okay? It's kind of like Goldilocks porridge. Not too hot, not too cold. Not too fast, not too slow, okay? So most of the time you're just going to be doing the flow of traffic, so don't worry too much about posted speed limit. Jake, I don't know. Where are you, Jake? There you go. Road test a couple of days ago and I passed first try. Just want to say thank you so much. You helped me so much with the bids. You are most welcome, Jake. Thank you so much for the compliment and letting us know that you passed. That is really awesome. Okay, DDC. Sorry to hear about your unsuccessful attempt. Change lanes, but there's too much traffic. What if I don't change? Am I going to miss the turn? Okay, DDC, what you need to do is you need to signal. You need to put your signal on, and you need to move to the left of the lane to indicate to other traffic that you're going to move over and you're going to change lanes. Because if you don't put your signal on, they don't know that you want to move over. So you have to ask other traffic, other drivers to let you move over. If you don't ask them, they're not going to make a space for you. If you do ask, eventually they'll make a space for you, okay? So that's what you got to do. You got to be tenacious. You got to keep asking. I know it's a little weird when you're sitting in traffic and there's heavy traffic on that left side or right side and you're trying to merge. Just keep your signal on. Bricks for wheels. Congratulations on passing your road test there in Manitoba. That's awesome. DDC, I took it in Langley, Willowbrook. Is that in the States, DDC, where that was? Okay. Musician Man, can you please do a more detailed video on stop signs, 2- and 4-way stops, and the different scenarios or possibilities from the perspective of you? Musician Man, have you seen the videos here on the channel? Just let me know if you've seen the videos on the channel, and I can comment on those, or I can point you to the videos here on the channel for more information about that. All right, I'll just see if I got any more questions for you. Brett, you're going to do great, okay? Good luck on your road test in the morning there. You're going to do fine. And, okay, Francois, you're going to be fine. I think I got everybody. Okay, I think I got everybody's questions. So, if anybody has any more questions, you're going to be fine. Yeah, Brett, you're gonna, I know you're nervous. It's all good. Just remember to breathe and, you know, get some sleep tonight. Get up in the morning, eat breakfast, make sure you do a pre-trip inspection on your vehicle before you go down. If you don't have it already, go over to the Smart Drive Test website and sign up for the checklist. Get that checklist of paperwork and other stuff that you need to go down to the licensing center in the morning. And make sure you show up early. Back into the space, bring your paperwork, bring your glasses if you need that. Make sure you bring your license and another piece of identification for your road test in the morning, and you're going to be fine, okay? And remember to breathe. Sam, it's incredible that it's so difficult for many students, and for us, it's a piece of cake. It takes time, guys. Just keep practicing. Yes, exactly what Sam said. It's practice. It's like anything, especially music, sports. You cannot be Michael Jordan overnight. You cannot be Wayne Gretzky. You cannot be guitar player. I'm trying to think of his name. It takes time. It takes practice. And driving a car takes time and takes practice. yes, you can be up to a minimum level of minimum standard for passing a road test, but after that, that's when the real learning begins. When you start driving on your own, that's when the real learning begins in terms of a road test. So just know that in terms of driving a car, that that getting your license, that's a minimum standard. That's not the high water mark for driving a car. So just know that. Okay, George, I asked this because I did my road test and I drove 70 in a place where it is 60. The instructor failed me and put that was a dangerous accident. Yes, it is, because you're 10 kilometers an hour over the speed limit. 10 kilometers is way too much. If you do 2 or 3, yeah, that's okay. But 10, that's a lot on a road test, okay? So you're going to have to practice speed control for the purposes of the road test. As I said, one of the major components of a road test is speed management, and in conjunction, the two things dovetail. Speed and space management, those two things dovetail. When you're speeding, oftentimes you're too close to other road users, or you're too close to other fixed objects on the roadway. So yes, if you're doing 70 in a 60 kilometer an hour zone on a road test, you're going to fail. Okay, if you're doing anything above 3 or 4 kilometers an hour over the speed limit, you are not going to be successful on a road test. I'll tell you right now, that's way too fast. You are speeding. Okay, so know that you have to practice that and you have to get control of that. Okay, Brian, how would I teach my sister to drive? I've been driving for 10 years, but she is new to driving. That is a great question, Brian, and I applaud you for asking that question in helping your sister learn how to drive. Now, one of the things I would suggest, Brian, is have a look at the video here on mentoring new drivers. And what I'll do, as soon as I get off here, I'll put that video down in the description for you. You can have a look at it. One of the things, Brian, that I would suggest to you is that there is a big difference between driving after you get your license and somebody learning how to drive to pass a road test. Those two things are different animals. And so let her practice what she needs to practice for the purposes of passing a road test, because that's going to be different than what you're doing in terms of driving. The other thing I would say, Brian, is make sure you leave time for her to learn, because in order for you to get somewhere, it's going to take you a third to, twice as much time as it normally would for you to get there. So just know that when you're teaching somebody else to drive, that there has to be some space for them to learn. So it's going to take longer. So budget some of that time in, right? So for example, if you have a half an hour drive that you're going from point A to point B, that would take you a half an hour, it's going to take you 45 minutes for your sister to drive that same place, because she's going to get in the car and it's going to be difficult and those types of things. So just, that's one of the other things I would keep in mind. But have a look at that video, and if you have any questions at all, leave me a comment, Brian. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Okay, Brett, I'm going to watch a lot of your videos today and pretend I'm, yeah, that's great, Brett. And just remember, fake it till you make it. I know you don't feel comfortable, you don't feel confident, you're nervous and those types of things, but you're going to do it. You're going to be great. All right, and if anybody else has any questions, and again, like Sam says, Sam, for those of you who don't know, is a driving instructor in the Bronx. He works for Rookie Auto Driving School, and Sam is really great, and anybody in New York City can look Sam up and get driving lessons from Sam. And Sam and I are pretty much in the same page. It's really, really about lots and lots of practice. The only way you're going to get better at driving an automobile is practice. The only way you're going to get better at driving a bus or a truck or a bicycle or a motorcycle is practice. The more time you spend in the seat driving, the better you're going to get. Okay, there you go. I think I got all the questions. The buggy's fixed. I'm going to get back to making videos. And I'm going back to Victoria on the weekend, so a big trip down there. And yeah, so I'll get that video up for the morning. And if you guys have any questions at all, drop me an email, rick@smartdrivetest.com. If you have any questions about getting a license, starting a career as a truck or bus driver, I'm more than happy to help you out. So thanks very much for your time. Thanks very much for your questions. Good luck in your road test. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great day. Bye now.